combine forces. I'll start by telling an outline of what happened starting on the second last day of a family vacation 2 weeks ago. My wife had just stepped out to take the boys, 2 under the age of 7, to their grandparents' room so we could have some time to relax on our own, and I grabbed her cell phone just to check some of the photos she had taken while on vacation so far. As I scrolled through the pictures, I scrolled up too far and found pictures of herself she had sent me while I was away a few weeks back, and the photos right before her string of photos were multiple pictures of another man and also a couple pictures of his face in a general setting. As she got back 5 minutes later, I asked her about these pictures in her gallery. They were written off as dirty videos downloaded to her phone inadvertently while searching for things. I knew this was not the case, but since we had no internet access where we were, I could not prove this to myself or her to demand more answers. We returned the next day, and that night I asked her to show me the specific site she was browsing that would automatically download these pictures onto her phone. This is where she informed me that they were actually pictures of a man her best friend was corresponding with through a dirty, and that my wife requested them because she was curious of the man her best friend was talking with. Plus, she liked that specific type of photo for her own enjoyment. This I couldn't prove was a lie because her friend resent me the pictures, claiming they were coming off of her phone that were sent via a long-deleted email. I was in such a lost state that I felt so helpless and couldn't find an answer that even felt true. This was Tuesday 2 weeks ago. Fast forward to Tuesday last week, and I get a Facebook message telling me to ask my wife, who had been home for a few days from work with horrible stomach pains, turned out to be guilt-racking her guts, about a man by the name of Charles. No need for a last name. So, on my way to the gym I am receiving this, so I text her and tell her to have answers for me when I get home and to think very hard on what those answers were. Her response was that she knew the answers and did not need to think on them. She informed me when I got back that she had been writing with this Charles since November, and that it was just, she was bored, and that he was just a friend that she talked to once in a while. In the following days, I was contacted by Charles via email, forwarding me emails sent between them but hiding the email addresses that my wife had used, which I was finally able to uncover that she was using two. One work and one Yahoo. I then got access to her Yahoo and everything came out. Multiple daily conversations, escalating conversations leading to professing profound love, dirty stories, dirty pictures, talk of meeting and leaving their spouses, and more undying love. The emails to me were mostly him telling me that she is crazy but also in love with him. And then he divulged that she admitted to cheating not just emotionally but physically on a couple occasions in the past, which she wrote 2 short paragraphs about detailing but not naming who they were. And by those descriptions, I have an idea who they may be. She has denied these vehemently, owning up to the emotional cheating but never physically or emotionally cheating on me with someone in person but over the phone, email, etc. So, I am here looking for answers about how do I ever know what is real in her lies to me? Do I believe her about the physical cheating never happening? Her explanation for that email was so that she would look more available to him. I am of course on my way for STD test now, no matter how many times she tells me I don't need one. An email sent last Tuesday, and voicemails left on my wife's. Charles has made threats against my family members and more so against his own, stating that we would never be able to live with ourselves for the harm that would be done to his children. As soon as I read this, I called the local police here in his state, and they have followed up amicably, and as of today they have found the man my wife was talking to and then informed us that there can now be a pending harassment suit and restraining orders filed against him after they caught up with him and in the riot act, etc. They also just informed me that the name we know of is not his own, nor are things like where he is employed true. I know that if there is emotional cheating going on that I may have driven her to it. Although I do not see how, as I have always tried to show her my love, make her feel special, and make sure she knows she was my one and only love that I professed to her on many occasions, and letters and cards and gifts throughout our time together. I don't know how to start building my trust in her again, or how to even know if I want to. My first reason for wanting to be because of my children, but also because I have had this strong love for her all my life. At this point I have read so much of their correspondence. I do not know whether it was the right choice or not, but coupled with the lies I have been told by my wife, I don't know how I could trust her if she says those feelings for him were not true. I do not know how to start to trust or see how it could be possible, but I do not know, like I said earlier, if I am willing or not to walk away from this marriage. As this is the first I have written this or told the events outside of my head, I don't know how they sound, or if they are even relevant to this forum. But there it is, most of the facts that I know, and the half-truths as they may be or whatever they are. And I do not know where to go now, what to do, how to go about things, and am asking for help wherever I can get it. How do I start to trust? How do I walk away? I have 2 children I love beyond all, and a wife no matter how much hate and anger I have still love. Filing is an easy way out, but is it the right way? How much work do I put into rebuilding? I have let her know that if she wants this marriage it will be years of work before we are in a good place again probably. She begs and insists that she wants our marriage more than anything. But with no trust, how do I know that in 6 months as things calm down after working on things it doesn't start up again? I do not know how to answer these. I'm not sure anyone does. I don't think there is a right answer here, but what does that say about me as a human being either way it goes? Am I a pushover for working on things? Am I selfish in that? If I walk away, am I taking the easy way out or the right way? Do I give it the time to work through things? Her response is just that she wanted to see Meyer available so Charles would continue talking with her. How I take that as anything but a lie I have no clue, and I think therein lies the biggest factor of building trust ever again, as this is one lie I cannot swallow as it is given to me. Just doesn't sound right no matter how much she swears it never happened. I think in my mind she thinks we can recover from Charles but not the physical ones. If they are true, when she was informed he wasn't who he said he was, she got scared and worried. I kind of pointed out how crazy she was not verifying a person online but divulging her own personal info. Not that it matters, but that it could hurt any of our family through identity theft or any other possible way. I was informed by this Charles about himself. He contacted me because my wife told him she was done, and he felt that by letting me know and to break up that he could drive her to him. His words in a later email: my wife is currently extremely adamant that she never had a physical affair and that STD tests are not needed. I am on the way to get my junk handled by another man now thanks to her lying and infidelity. She is still begging that we work this out through counseling or whatever I may need. Complete surveillance of her technology, and she wants to know whatever it is that she needs to do to start rebuilding trust. Aside from a 7-page letter she wrote me detailing how she never wants to be without me, wants to rebuild our marriage, that there was never a physical affair, etc. Also, she is not putting the blame for the emotional affair on me pushing her towards it, but rather her blindness to see that I was providing it for her. She has been seeing a therapist that has clued her into the fact that she has been this way for a while. I got to say everything to do with this is effed up beyond coherence. I want to take what was mentioned earlier about roles reversed and fabricate a past infidelity on my part to see if she still really wants this marriage. Lol. I am not serious, but I am just so stunned by these events and have yet to clarify my thoughts and emotion and develop a plan on how to start protecting myself. Aside from a lawyer, just lost in general and flabbergasted at the effectiveness of this all so far. We have a huge amount of discussing, arguing, and coping to do before any decision on my behalf is made. I think she is realizing the damage she has done to me, and her herself doesn't see how I am going to be able to forgive her. Nor do I, or if I do, I will be taking my time on that decision, that is for sure. I am using my support group that know us both, our family and our situation as sure as it is. I'll be sitting in with her therapist session soon to try and at least help her in her issues, even if it has no bearing on the end result of our marriage. Story 2. My hubby and I have separated for about 9 months now. He walked out on me because he was unhappy and was dealing with depression. Without going into too many details, we just recently agreed to work on our marriage again. What I want to know is how do we get that connection back, and how do we bring intimacy back into our marriage? We are still living in a separate home for now, and I have not asked for him to come home yet, as I don't want to get rejected again, and he has not mentioned about coming home either. I don't want to pressure him into coming home, as it has taken him this long to come to the point that he is willing to try again. The only thing that was discussed was that we are going to go to a marriage counseling to try and figure out what do we do now, which we have been going to for about 3 weeks now, and it's going well. We are both have the same fear about going into this, and what if a few years from now we have to go through this painful thing again. We have 2 kids, one 7-year-old girl and 18-month-old boy. I think the reason why he wants to give this another go is because of the kids. But I don't want him to come back just because of the kids. I want him to come back for me as well. In our first marriage counseling session, he said to our counselor that he is open to work on our marriage again, but he is not sure if he loves me or not. This comment hurts me, as I never stop loving him, even though I admit to having neglected our relationship for a few years now because the kids take up so much of my time. He has never been a touchy person, and I'm the kind of person who needs physical touches and affection to feel loved. So now that we are at this new beginning in our relationship, I want us to have a fresh start and build a better and happier marriage together, but I'm kind of lost and wondering as to what to do. How do we build that connection again, and how do we get the intimacy back into our relationship? Any advice or suggestions would be much appreciated, especially for those of you who has been in our situation and recovering from a separation. How do you make it into a stronger marriage? It has been a long journey for me to get here. For the first few months after he walked out, it was hell on earth. I went through all sort of emotional stages and went through all the stages of grieving for the loss of my relationship. He told me the day after Valentine's Day about his unhappiness in our marriage for the past few years, and he left our house early March this year. We have been together for 16 years and married for 8 years. I have to put up a strong front for the kids, although admittedly there were times when I broke down and my little girl saw me crying and I felt very hopeless and lost. My husband has always been my rock, so it felt like the rug had been pulled from under me and I have lost everything I know. The one thing that has gotten me through the hard time was my faith in God, and I have a renewed relationship with Him now. At the early stage of separation, I have accused him of being selfish, and I asked him to consider about the kids, and I tried everything to make him see how he is hurting everyone around him, but he could not see it at all. He couldn't see the good times we had. It's like the memory has been erased from his mind, and he can only focus about him and how he was feeling at the time. I have learned the hard way that we cannot make people feel a certain way about us. We cannot make them love us, and we don't have any control over their feelings or behaviors. A turning point for me was on the first day of spring, which was the 1st of September this year. I decided enough is enough, and I was finally ready for a fresh start. I've realized that I've been going around the same mountain over and over again, and it's time for me to grow up and move on. So, I have to surrender everything to God, and when I finally realized this, I back off completely and gave Him the time and space He needed. I prayed every day and thanking God for everything that is still good in my life. I still have my health, my beautiful kids, a job to go to, and I thank Him for every blessing He gave me each and every day. I also started thanking God that He is fighting my battles for me, thanking Him for giving me strength for every battle, and that I know He will bring me through this and I will be victorious in the end. I know that God doesn't like divorce, and if He put me in this situation, there must be a reason why I'm here. As every adversity makes me grow to another level of His grace, I keep telling myself that it was His goodness that brought us together in the first place, and I truly believe that it will be His goodness that will restore our marriage. I also believe that God's plan for me is for good, so if for any reason my husband is not meant to come back to me, then I believe God has someone else better to come into my life, and that I will find happiness again. Surrendering everything to God with a strong belief that He will work all things for me gives me incredible peace to go through life one day at a time. I can only say that His words get me through the tough days, and each day He gave me enough grace to go through it with a good attitude and patience. I also spend time to work on myself, and I started looking after myself better, and I think He can see that I'm looking better with a better attitude, which has probably contributed to His decision to give our marriage another go. Although I cannot say this for sure, as I'm only guessing from His change of attitude towards me. I had problems with controlling behavior and lack of patience, so I know I have been put into this situation so I can work on my weaknesses, and I hope to come out better off than before this happened. I believe God has planned for a brighter future for me, so I will not let my past dictate my future. I have vowed that I will pass this test, and I believe God will guide me and lead me to my victory, and I will be a stronger and better woman in the end. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm a hell of a lot better than where I was when I first started. For those of you in limbo and just going through the early stages of separation, I cannot stress or the importance of patience and to not give up hope. The loneliness is the hardest part, but keep hoping and keep believing. And I know that in due time my miracle will come. And at this stage I'm believing for a Christmas miracle. Things are a bit awkward after being apart for 9 months, and I need some tips about how to bridge that awkwardness and to start building connection and intimacy again. We are in the process of rebuilding our marriage, and my husband will be moving back into our home next week. However, when he comes around to pick up the kids from my house tonight, I can feel that he's got something in his mind, but because the kids were there he couldn't talk. So, I sent him a text after he left with the kids asking him if there were something in his mind that he was thinking about that he couldn't say before. I just got a text from him saying, "Sometimes I regress and really worry about me and us in the future." To be honest, I do have my own anxiety and worry. Who wouldn't? We were separated for almost a year now, and reconciliation is a huge thing for both of us. I realized we have a long road ahead of us, and it's not going to be easy, but I really don't know how to give reassurance to him because I'm also filled with the same anxiety and worry sometimes. Can any of you offer some advice as to the right thing to say to give him some comfort and reassurance? If you were in his position, what would you want to hear from your wife that will give some peace in your heart and soothe your worry? I don't want to say something wrong that will cause us to go backwards, so please help me. I feel really lost and I don't know what to say. Hearing him say those words just scares me and triggers my own anxiety. It's only been 4 weeks since he moved back home and we are attempting reconciliation. My husband just told me that he doesn't know if he will ever feel the spark between us again and that we might be better off as friends. And he also admitted that he still feels a spark with the woman he works with. He said when they talk at work, she flirts with him and he likes how she makes him feel. They have a lot of things in common and he feels a connection with her that he doesn't feel with me. I feel so hurt and devastated again. I also asked him why he didn't explore a relationship further with that other woman while we were separated. He said they went out to the movies and they kissed, but that's as far as it went because he said it didn't feel right. And he feels like he was still married to me even though we were separated, and he didn't wear his wedding ring during this. He said that he told her last year that he just wants to be just friends, so no more going to lunches together. No more texting and no more playing computer games together. Then after a few months he asked me for a reconciliation. I just found out a couple of days ago that even though he has stopped going to lunch with her, and stopped the texting, and stopped playing games together, she still come up to the floor he is working on to talk to him and flirt with him. I asked him why he come home and ask for reconciliation, and he said the kids and I still mean a lot to him and he doesn't want to throw away 17 years of relationship and 2 beautiful kids just for some girl. But the fact is he just admitted that he still feels that spark with her and the flirting still continue at work, and it hurts me so much. I told him that as long as that woman is still at his work our relationship will never work. Now I know why he refused to give me affections, and with no intimacy our relationship will never go to the next level and won't go as far as friendship because of that. I don't know if I can do this anymore. He keeps hurting me over and over again. I just told him last night that he has 2 options. If he wants to stay and work on our marriage, he needs to have the ball to tell the other woman to stop all contact and focus on our marriage and give his full commitment. And if he wants to explore that spark with the other woman, then he needs to get the hell out of my house and let me move on with my life. He told me he needs to be alone this weekend to think things through and sort out his life. I told him I just gave him his freedom and he can do what the hell he likes with it. When we talked about this last night I couldn't even cry anymore. I just feel numb. I have let this go to God, and strangely enough, even though I'm hurting, I also feel this incredible peace in my heart that whatever may come my way from now on I will be okay. And whatever decision he will make this weekend, I know it's God's will, and if he put me there, he will also give me the strength and grace to deal with it. I still need to face him today before the weekend tomorrow when he is going to do his thinking and make his decision. I need some advice as to what I should do now. I'm thinking of doing the 180, but I don't know if I can do that while still living in the same house. Should I ask him sleep in another room? How should I act when he is around? Bear in mind that we have our 2 kids in the house with us, and I want to make sure this has as little effect on them as possible. So, should I just ignore him, or just be detached and only speak as necessary? If he decided to stay, do you think he needs to leave his work immediately? The reason why I ask is because he is the main income earner in our family and his salary supports us and pays for the mortgage, and he loves his work. He did say he will consider changing job, but looking for a new job could take a while. I'm saying this out of my own experience of looking for a full-time job in the current job market. So would it be enough if he avoids contact with her even though they are still in the same office? They are in different floor but the same office building. What I'm wondering is if he says he will end all contact with her, how do I know he is actually doing that, as I cannot check what he does at work, and nor do I want to spend all my time checking up on him constantly, as that would make it very difficult for me to do anything else. I also have a full-time job, so when I'm busy at work I can't constantly check up on him. But at the same time I can't just rely on trusting him straight away and just taking his word for it without any proof that he is going to do what he says. Can you help me shed some light on this and what I should do, please? About the other woman, I have never met her, so I don't even know what she looks like. I only know her description from others who have seen her. I don't know her family, and I don't even know her phone number. I don't know anyone from my husband's work, so I don't have any help or leverage from there. I'm just going to leave it in God's hand. I told my husband yesterday to get the hell out of my house as he is having an emotional affair with his co-worker. He just told me this morning he will be moving in with the other woman next week. The full-blown impact of the whole thing hits me when he said when he will take the kids on his days when he is supposed to have the kids, and if he will be living with her in her house, that means I'm completely out of the picture. I'm so lost and I feel do break. I don't know what to do now. He also told me that he doesn't think we can ever be compatible and he can only be friends with me. It hurts so damn much. I have leave this in God's hand, but it doesn't make it any less painful. I didn't think I have any more tears to cry, but here they come full force now. Please tell me I'm doing the right thing kicking him out of the house. I'm expecting a roller coaster ride of emotions as it is currently going up and down. I woke up alone in my bed this morning and reality hits me right after I opened my eyes, and my heart felt like it was being squeezed hard and it hurts like hell. I made myself get out of bed and go to work. I put a smile on my face and I put the armor of God around me. I have contacted my lawyer this morning and I have an appointment to see her tomorrow to get some advice on what I should do. He finally admitted yesterday that what he had with the other woman was an emotional affair. Prior to that he didn't even think he was having an affair, as nothing physical ever happened between them. I told him to Google what emotional affair means, and after doing some reading online he admitted that was what he has with her. Now that he is going to move in with the other woman, I'm sure this will turn into physical, and I have resigned to the fact that this has to happen for him to realize the full extent of his decision. I have made it clear to him that I do not want my kids to meet her yet, and he understands this, and I hope he respected my wishes and know that he has put my kids through enough pain and not make it even worse for all of us. I don't have any family here. All my family is overseas, so I'm on my own. My friends have warned me against reconciliation with him before he moved back in, and I have go against their advice. So I can't find support with them because they will just say I told you so, and I feel so much weight on my shoulder. But I know God is with me and He will give me the strength to go through this. I have two amazing children, a 7-year-old girl and 2-year-old boy. We told our little girl last night that Daddy will be moving out again, the second time around, and it's hard watching her cry and get really sad. 4 weeks ago, when my H moved back home, now I realized it was a false R. She wants to get him a special cake to celebrate her daddy coming back home, so we got a small cake with a saying, "Welcome back home, Daddy," and now this just crushed her. He can hurt me over and over again, but I have to put a stop of him hurting our babies. This needs to stop, and I'm putting my foot down. I can't move back home. I have let go of my citizenship from my country after our daughter was born, and I don't want to uproot my children in this difficult time. She needs as much as stability she can have, and hopefully I can provide that for her as best I could. I truly cannot deprive my children from seeing their dad because they have a good relationship and he has been a good father to them, so moving out of the country is out of the question. I'm going to have to stick this out and be strong for my kids. I'm having a hard time today with the 180. It's only been a week of as little contact as possible, and it doesn't seem to have any effect on him. Granted, I only see a glimpse of him when he came to the house to pick up the kids or dropping them off. But from what I see, it looks like he couldn't care less if we never speak or interact with each other again. When he came into the house, he doesn't say hi or goodbye when he leaves, so I do the same. I just go about my business as if he is not there. So basically, we just pretty much just ignored each other. He probably would like it better if he never has to see or deal with me again. When he arrived at my house this morning, the kids were still asleep. He entered the house, saw me, and looked away. He won't even look at me. He went straight upstairs, probably to wake my daughter up to get her ready for school. So, I just left and started walking to my bus stop. Not a single word was spoken between us. When I saw him this morning, he doesn't look happy. But that is probably because he was dreading seeing me or coming to the house. Or maybe just feeling the guilt. I'm feeling down today and wonder if she ever truly loves me. He said he hasn't felt that love for me for a while. Maybe for the past 6 years or so. I know I should probably just harden my heart and move forward with my life. But instead I miss talking to him and miss getting his daily text message, even though if it's only little things about the kids. I feel so pathetic. Please slap some sense into me. I'm not ignoring him on purpose or purposely giving him a cold shoulder. But if he doesn't talk to me, I would rather not talk back and I would go about my business in the house as usual. And about point number 13, I have nailed this one down. I always made damn sure I look fabulous when he sees me. This is not only for his benefit but mostly for myself, cause when I look good, I feel good too and boost my self-esteem. I don't feel the need to ask him how I look in this outfit, because his opinion no longer matters to me. In regards to the points of him goading me for a fight and scream or yell, that will never happen. It never happened the whole 17 years we are together, and it's not going to happen now. Because he is a very reserved guy and he never yell at me or accuse me of anything like that. If I know him, he will go into his shell even more and get even more withdrawn and think about all sort of stuff in his own messed up head. But he will never yell out to me or goad me into a fight because it's just not in his personality. He will never accuse me of using him for his money because I never ask for a single cent from him. I'm independent and always have been when it comes to finances. He has his own money and I have my own money, and we have a joint bank account where the mortgages and expenses come out from, and we both contributed to it. Not just him. So, I think we are pretty clear on this area. He always sees me looking nice every day, but he never asked me where I'm going or why I'm dressed nice. Not even once. But he might have thought about it or wonder in his head, but he never asked or say anything to me. I'm not letting anger stew inside of me. I have been listening and learning more about mercy and forgiveness so I can start healing. I don't want to waste my time and energy by holding on to resentments and bitterness. It takes a lot of effort to stay angry and life is too short. I have contacted my lawyer to draw up a legal separation agreement, but unfortunately the law here states we cannot file for divorce until we have legally separated for 2 years. They make it difficult to file here, and the government wants to make sure we have enough time to think about it through roughly before filing for D. But the legal separation document should have a similar impact. I asked my lawyer to serve him the papers next week, a few days before his birthday. My comment: I thought some of you would like a perspective from another gender once in a while. Let me make some food and prepare the next one for you all.